Imagine waking up one morning, feeling a little more sluggish than usual, maybe a bit more discomfort than you'd like to admit. You chalk it up to age, to another birthday behind you, maybe to a tough week at work or to that extra slice of pizza you had last night. But what if I told you that something far more insidious was happening beneath the surface, something that could have lifelong consequences for your health as a man? Something that's quietly, day after day, chipping away at one of your most vital organs, and it's hiding right there in your kitchen, in your fridge, even on your dinner plate. Today, we're bringing to light the 8 common foods that secretly harm your prostate and how you can take control of your health before it's too late. For many of us, the prostate is something we don't think about until we have to. It's a word that comes up in doctor's appointments, in late-night commercials about supplements, and, unfortunately, in conversations with friends who've gotten bad news. According to the American Cancer Society, prostate problems, including benign enlargement and cancer, affect millions of men over 60 each year. But what if I told you that the choices we make every single day, what we put on our plates and in our bodies, could be steering us toward trouble without us even knowing it? It's not just about genetics, luck, or age. It's about the foods we consume, and some of the worst offenders are hiding in plain sight. Now, I know what you're thinking, a list of foods to avoid, another lecture about eating lettuce and skipping the steak. But let me ask you, if you could spare yourself the sleepless nights, the discomfort, the endless trips to the bathroom, and the silent fear that something's wrong, wouldn't you want to know what's really going on? Wouldn't you want to arm yourself with the knowledge to fight back, to protect yourself, and maybe even help your brother, your father, your best friend do the same? That's what we're here for today. Let's start by talking about processed meats. Bacon, sausage, hot dogs, these are staples of the American breakfast table and summer cookouts. They're delicious, familiar, and, let's face it, hard to resist. But the nitrates and preservatives in these meats have been linked to increased inflammation and even cancer risks, especially for the prostate. Studies have shown that regular consumption of processed meats can contribute to oxidative stress in the body, which doesn't just make you feel tired and achy, it can actually damage your cells and set the stage for disease. If you've ever noticed that after a hearty breakfast of bacon and eggs, you feel bloated or uncomfortable, it's not just your imagination. Your prostate could be feeling the effects too. Think about the last family gathering you attended. The grill was fired up, the smell of sizzling meats filled the air, and you were surrounded by laughter and good company. But as you piled that juicy burger onto your plate, did you stop to wonder what was really in it? Most store-bought burgers are packed with preservatives and fatty cuts of meat that do more harm than good. And it's not just about the cholesterol. High levels of saturated fat have been linked to prostate enlargement and increased risk of prostate cancer. If you're a man over 60, you know how precious your health is, you've worked hard, built a life, and the last thing you want is to lose your independence or quality of life to something as preventable as dietary choices. Now, let's move to another favorite, dairy. Milk, cheese, butter, these are the comfort foods we grew up with. They remind us of home, of childhood, of simpler times. But recent research has uncovered a disturbing link between high dairy consumption and prostate problems. The culprit? Hormones and saturated fats found in dairy products. These substances can trigger inflammation and hormonal imbalances, which directly affect the prostate. If you've ever wondered why you feel more discomfort or urgency after a bowl of ice cream or a cheesy casserole, you're not alone. It's not just about lactose intolerance. It's about the cumulative effect of years of dairy consumption on your prostate health. I remember talking to a friend of mine, let's call him Bill, who loved his morning bowl of cereal with cold milk. Every day, without fail, it was his ritual. But as he got older, he started experiencing more frequent bathroom trips, a sense of urgency he couldn't shake, and a deep, nagging discomfort that kept him up at night. It wasn't until his doctor suggested cutting back on dairy that things started to improve. It was a small change, but it made a world of difference. Bill's story isn't unique, and maybe it's similar to yours. Let's talk about something we've all enjoyed, fried foods. French fries, onion rings, fried chicken, the crispy, golden treats that have become synonymous with comfort and indulgence. But the oils used in frying, especially those high in trans fats, are a silent enemy to your prostate. Trans fats increase inflammation throughout the body, and the prostate is particularly vulnerable. Over time, this inflammation can lead to swelling, discomfort, and even increase the risk of cancer. If you've noticed that your joints ache more and your energy feels sapped after a meal heavy in fried foods, it's your body telling you something important. For men over 60, the stakes are even higher. Let's not forget about alcohol. A cold beer after mowing the lawn, a glass of whiskey with friends, or a toast at a wedding, alcohol is woven into the fabric of our social lives. But excessive alcohol consumption can wreak havoc on your prostate. It dehydrates the body, increases inflammation, and can lead to hormonal imbalances. Men who drink regularly are more likely to experience prostate enlargement and related urinary symptoms. I'm not saying you have to give up your favorite drink entirely, but moderation is key. If you notice that you're waking up more often at night to use the bathroom or feeling discomfort that lingers after a few drinks, it might be time to reconsider how much alcohol is really worth it. Let's move to the next culprit, red meat. Steak, roast beef, ribs, these are the heart of many American meals. But studies have shown that men who consume large amounts of red meat are at higher risk for prostate problems, especially cancer. The reason isn't just the saturated fat, it's also the way red meat is cooked. Grilling, broiling, and frying at high temperatures can create chemicals called heterocyclic amines, which are known to damage cells and increase cancer risk. If you've ever felt uneasy after a big steak dinner, if you're experiencing more frequent discomfort or trouble with urination, your body is sending you a message. You don't have to give up red meat entirely, but consider cutting back and opting for leaner cuts or alternative proteins. Now, let's talk about sugar. It's hidden everywhere, in your morning coffee, your favorite dessert, even in so-called healthy foods. Sugar spikes insulin levels and triggers inflammation, which is terrible news for your prostate. High sugar diets have been linked to increased risk of prostate enlargement and cancer. If you've noticed your waistline growing and your energy dipping after a sugary treat, it's not just about weight gain, it's about your prostate health. Cutting back on sugar isn't easy, but it's one of the most powerful steps you can take to protect yourself. Let's not overlook the sneaky offender, canned foods. The convenience of cracking open a can of soup or beans can't be denied, but many canned foods contain BPA, a chemical that disrupts hormones and increases prostate risk. Even low-sodium options can be packed with preservatives and chemicals that accumulate in your body over time. If you've been relying on canned foods for quick meals, consider switching to fresh or frozen alternatives whenever possible. Finally, let's talk about the white flour products, white bread, pasta, pastries, the staple foods that make up much of the American diet. Refined grains are stripped of their nutrients and fiber, which means they spike your blood sugar and trigger inflammation. Over time, this can lead to weight gain, metabolic issues, and increased risk of prostate problems. If you're a man over 60, you know how important it is to keep your energy up and your body in good working order. Switching to whole grain options can make a significant difference in how you feel, day in and day out. Now, you might be feeling overwhelmed. 8 foods, many of which are regulars in your kitchen, your family gatherings, your favorite restaurants. But here's the good news. You have the power to make changes starting today. You don't have to overhaul your life overnight. Small, consistent choices can add up to big results. Swap out the processed meats for grilled chicken or fish. Try almond or oat milk instead of dairy. Bake or grill instead of frying. Cut down on alcohol and save red meat for special occasions. Choose fruit instead of sugary desserts. Opt for fresh or frozen vegetables instead of canned. And make the switch to whole grain breads and pastas. Your prostate is just one part of your body, but it's a vital one. It affects your comfort, your confidence, your ability to live life on your own terms. Over the years, you've built a life, family, friends, experiences, memories. Don't let hidden dangers on your plate take that away from you. You've earned the right to feel good, to be strong, to enjoy every day to its fullest. It's not just about avoiding discomfort or disease. It's about being present for the moments that matter most. Watching your grandkids play, enjoying a walk with your spouse, laughing with friends around the table. These are the moments worth fighting for. but I know change isn't easy. These foods are familiar, comforting, part of our traditions and routines. Letting go can feel like losing a piece of ourselves. But think about what you stand to gain: better sleep, more energy, fewer trips to the bathroom, less worry, more freedom. It's about trading short-term pleasure for long-term health, about making choices today that your future self will thank you for. So, as you look at your plate tonight, think about what you really want. Not just for yourself, but for the people who love you and depend on you. Every meal is a chance to choose health, to protect your body, to invest in your future. Start small, cut back on one food at a time. Experiment with new recipes, share your journey with friends, and don't be afraid to ask for help. And if you're wondering where to begin, remember, knowledge is power. The more you know, the better choices you can make. Talk to your doctor, read up on nutrition, and don't hesitate to reach out for support. You're not alone on this journey. Millions of men across the country are facing the same challenges, asking the same questions, and making the same changes. Together, we can build a healthier, happier future. To wrap things up, let's recap the 8 common foods that secretly harm your prostate: processed meats, dairy, fried foods, alcohol, red meat, sugar, canned foods, and refined grains. These foods are everywhere, but every time you make a better choice, you're taking a stand for your health. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. If you found this information helpful, don't keep it to yourself. Your story could inspire someone else to make a change, to ask their doctor, to rethink their next meal. Subscribe for more tips on men's health. Comment below with your own experiences or questions, and share this with the men in your life who matter most. Let's start a conversation, build a community, and take back control of our health, one meal at a time. Remember, you're stronger than you think, and it's never too late to make a change. Your future starts today.